Hi everybody, Mrs. Farmer here. This is going to be my second YouTube English lesson. This week we're going to focus on a picture from the website Pobble365. Pobble365 is brilliant. As teachers, we love it. Every day they provide a different picture with loads of different story starters and prompts, and yeah, it's a brilliant website. So if you're struggling to come up with something you want to write about at home, I recommend Pobble365. It's great. We're going to be looking at the image called Without Gravity, and I'm going to be talking you through how we could write a piece of descriptive writing using not only the fantastics but the boomtastics, and we're going to focus a little bit on the grammaristics this week. So watch the next part. Okay, so I'm going to start off my story pretending that these three girls in here are sisters and that they've been told they need to go to bed. Now, if I remember correctly, when I was little, I did not like being told when to go to bed. So I'm going to add a lot of description in to make it seem like these sisters do not want to go to sleep. They've had a really nice evening playing with all their toys, and their nana is going to come and tell them to go to sleep. I've put a circle around adverbs and adverbial phrases. This is the one that I'm going to focus on for now. There will be a little bit of the other grammaristics thrown in there. I'll talk about them at the end, particularly talking about past tense. I'm going to be writing my story in past tense. Watch out for punctuation as I do it as well. I'm going to be doing a range of the fantastics. I'm not focusing on any of them in particular. And I'm also going to put in some boomtastics, so see if you can spot them as I go along. So I'm going to imagine that Nana's going to come up the stairs. I'm going to open my story with a little bit of dialogue. So I'm going to say, bedtime, girls, time to switch off that light. And I'm going to say, Nana's. Now I'm going to describe Nana's voice. Now, this isn't what my Nana's voice sounds like, but I'm going to describe it like it because in my story she's got a croaky, coarse voice. Now I've used a little bit of alliteration here, one of my boomtastics. So Nana's croaky, coarse voice bounce. I'm going to give it a bit of onomatopoeia, pretending that my voice can bounce, and bounced up the stairwell. And now this room to me looks quite small and it's got a wooden ceiling, so I'm going to pretend it's an attic room. So bounce up the stairwell and into the attic. It's echo darting, again a bit more onomatopoeia there, around the room. I fancy putting in a simile here, so I'm going to say it's darting around the room like a boomerang. So I'm going to read that first sentence back again. Bedtime, girls, time to switch off that light. Nana's croaky, coarse voice bounced up the stairwell and into the attic, its echo darting around the room like a boomerang. Now I'm going to pretend that these sisters don't really want to go to bed, so I'm going to come up with, I'm also going to try to get a bit of alliteration in there, so when I don't want to do something I might sigh, so I'm going to say sighing. I also might be a bit sulky, so I'm going to say sulking. And if I'm kind of moving in a way that I don't want to do something, I'm not going to bound across the room. I might be shuffling, and shuffling. Now I'm going to go back to my grammaristics. I'm going to add in an adverb. I'm going to keep it simple this time because I quite like the alliteration of sighing, sulking, and shuffling. I'm going to go for an S word and say that they're doing it sadly. They really don't want to stop playing with their toys. So sighing, sulking, and shuffling sadly. Now it's only right that I name them after me. I'm going to pretend that this was me and my sister, and I'm going to invent a sister here because I've only got one in real life. The Farmer sisters. So you can make up your characters. You could pretend that maybe they're not sisters, maybe they're friends that are all different ages. Because to me, these girls look like they're all different ages. So I'm going to just pretend that they're sisters. Sadly, the Farmer sisters made their way to their boring beds. A little bit more alliteration in there. I'm going to name my first sister after a Disney character, Anna, but I'm going to make it Anna. Anna, who was the eldest of the three. Now, this is one of our Year 5 curriculum skills, putting in relative clauses. So I've made this clause relative to Anna, who was the eldest of the three, and I've made sure I put my commas around the edge. So Anna, who was the eldest of the three, gazed longingly, because I know if I really want to do something, I kind of gaze at it. And longingly means you really want to do something, and that's another adverb. Gazed longingly at the rainbow of, so I can see some Lego in here. There's definitely some Lego bricks. So rainbow of Lego bricks. Oh, I need to capitalise Lego because it's a proper noun. So a rainbow of Lego bricks. I'm going to say that they're not very well together, because I know when I don't tidy up, things tend to be a bit. And the word I'm going to use is dishevelled. So it doesn't look like a proper rainbow. It's kind of a bit mismatched because, yeah, again, they've kind of been scattered across there. It's an attic, so it might be a bit dusty. The dusty attic. Oh, I don't need a comma there. I'm not going to make this. I'm not going to put another adjective. Dusty attic floor. Whilst my second sister, I'm going to call this little one. She looks like a Meg. I'm going to call her Meg. Oh, another Disney princess thrown in there. Whilst Meg, the youngest, I've put in parenthesis here. I've got my dashes around each side of my phrase. So Meg, the youngest, dove under her duvet. Now I'm going to pretend that this penguin up here belongs to Meg, and that maybe at this point in the story where the picture's showing, she's kind of left him on the other side of the room. Remember, I'm telling how it got to this point in the story. So this is pre all of the things going on. And if you read the story starter, you'll know that the scientists have turned on this machine somewhere else across the world, and this is the experience of these little girls when this anti-gravity machine's been turned on. So whilst Meg, the youngest, dove under her duvet, I'm going to pretend she's feeling really guilty about leaving. I'm going to call him Mr. Penguin. So diving under her duvet guiltily to avoid the gloomy gawp. So if you gawp at something, you're kind of looking at something in disbelief. Avoid the gloomy gawp from Mr. Penguin. Sorry, my typing's not good today. Mr. Penguin. Another relative clause here, who was now all alone in the shadowy, secluded corner of the room. So it's kind of like she's just left him over there, and to kind of avoid looking at him, she's going to hide under her duvet because she feels really bad. Secluded corner of the room. Anna looked at her sister. I'm not going to pretend that the third sister's called Penny, not a Disney character, but I just like the name, at her sister Penny. And I'm going to put Penny in charge of turning the light off. Her sister Penny, because we've not introduced Penny yet. We know she's in the middle because we've got Anna, who's the eldest, and Meg, the youngest. I don't really need to say that Penny is the middle sister here. I'm just going to go on to talk about what she's doing. Whose hands, I'm going to pretend that this teddy here belongs to her, this teddy right here, whose hands were desperately clutching Ted's hand. So Anna is looking at Penny, who is clutching this teddy bear, and Anna, she's the older sister, she's in charge. She's going to kind of tell Penny to turn off the light switch, but she's not going to say it. She's going to show it with her eyes, I think. So Anna, who looked at her sister Penny, and flicked her eyes miserably. They really don't want to go to bed. They were having fun playing. Oh, miserably. Oh my goodness. Miserably. There we go, Mrs. Farmer. I know it's quite late. And flicked her eyes miserably to the dreaded light switch. Let's get a bit of dialogue in here again. We're going to have Anna talk. Go on, Pen. Switch it off. I'm going to have her mutter it. Anna muttered, pulling her blanket up close to her chin. So you can see that Anna's really not feeling great now. Again, I've got in miserably there. That's another adverb. Again, that's my focus today. I've got desperately. Again, another adverb describing how she's clutching it. Yeah, lots of, come up with your own word banks if you like. Remember, email me if you're struggling to think of anything and I'll try to help. Anna muttered, pulling her blanket up close to her chin. Penny is now going to need to put down Ted to turn the light switch off. She's going to need to get ready for bed. So next step, Penny's going to get rid of Ted. Penny looked down at Ted and, I don't need to put a comma there, and gently let go of his soft cream paw. So then she's letting go of him. I'm imagining him kind of bouncing on the floor somewhere, or not. That's the next part of my story. I think you'll see where I'm going with this in a second. She hesitantly, she really doesn't want to do it, hesitantly turned to face the light switch and raised her hand. Okay, have I used the word reluctantly yet? Reluctantly. No, I'm going to use the word reluctantly. Reluctantly. Okay. As she went to press the button. Now here we go, that's an adverbial phrase. So it's telling me when the next thing's going to happen. Well, it's happening as she went to press the button. But what happened? Well, I'm going to say she heard a sharp gasp pierce. We're going to say, yeah, it's going to pierce the silence. A bit more onomatopoeia, not onomatopoeia, sorry. A bit more personification. We're going to personify the gasp. We're going to say it's piercing the silence of the attic. We're going to say it's coming from Penny. I'm going to get from Anna, sorry. Actually, maybe even from Meg. We'll have it come from Meg. Penny, look at Ted, cried Meg. And we're going to say she's going to be as she rapidly emerged from under her duvet as Anna, we'll get Anna back in it, as Anna's eyes burst with fascination. And we're going to have Penny have a quick look at where on earth it is Meg's talking about. So she's going to be looking at Ted. Well, she dropped Ted on the floor. So Penny snapped her head back to where she dropped Ted on the floor. Except he wasn't there. Now, I think you know where I'm going with my story, or with my opening anyway. Except he wasn't there. Well, he's floating, and I'm going to have my story start off with the fact that the girls start to notice things in their bedroom are raising up to the ceiling, and eventually they would. I'm not going to model that far. That's for you guys to do. So I'm going to just do the next bit. So Ted on the floor. Except he wasn't there. She followed the bewildered gazes of, and we have both the sisters, of her sisters to the ceiling. And then we have Penny do a little bit of talking. Oh my, she stuttered in disbelief. There, floating gracefully, another adverb there, above her head was Ted. Okay, so there you have it. I need to put a capital here because I've used an ellipses there. Spotting my mistakes. So that's how my story would open. Use this as a scaffold. Feel free to rewind and pause it as you come up with your own ideas. But there you go, a little waggle to get you started with the story. You could go on to talk about how maybe strands of their hair began floating up to the ceiling as if the ceiling was a magnet. You could do whatever you want with this. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what you come up with. Before I move on, I will just very quickly go over some of the grammaristics that I've used. Quite a lot of complex sentences in here. I have used dialogue, so I think, and that relates very nicely to punctuation. Make sure, if you aren't sure of the rules of punctuating direct speech, have a quick recap. There's lots of posters online. We've done it quite a few times this year. Remember, if you're using speech, we don't have full stops at the end. We do have other forms of punctuation. So, for example, if it's an exclamation mark, we then have to use a capital next. I know that's a name, and this is also a name. But if I said muttered Anna, I wouldn't need a capital there. So if let's, for the sake of that, let's just swap them around. So I could say muttered Anna. However, if I change this, and this is hypothetical, this doesn't go with the sentence, but if I then turn this into a exclamation mark, so she shouted it, I would then have to put a capital here. So shouted Anna. Okay, Anna's not shouting though, she's a bit too glum for that in my story. And again, the same counts down here where I've used an ellipses, you have to put a capital. Okay. I've also kept it all in the same tense. If I haven't, please let me know. Send me a quick email. I'm not. Yeah, I make mistakes. I'm only human. So yeah, just let me know if I have made any mistakes. Oh yeah, I've kept it in past tense. So if you remember, if you need to recap tense, make sure you have a look online. Again, there's lots of posters up there. Yeah, I haven't done any repetition this time or rhyming. I could do in my next one. Yeah, see what you guys can come up with. I'm looking forward to it, as I said in my last little snip.
Okay, so the second activity we're going to do is related to spotting mistakes that I have made. I'm going to be typing out a piece of descriptive writing. You are going to spot the errors. Once you've spotted all the errors, send me an email. If you can, fix them. Okay, that's your next challenge.
Okay, so for this next one, I've had to change the settings of Microsoft Word because it's very good and it corrects your spelling and your grammar sometimes. So I've tried to turn all the settings off. Hopefully this will work. So I'm going to write the next part of my story now. So I'm going to say, suddenly, out of nowhere, we'll say that one. Out of nowhere, strands of Penny. Oh, there's a clue for you. Penny's hair began to rise as if they were pieces of metal being pulled to the ceiling. Pulled to, I'm going to say a magnetic ceiling. Okay, next. Meg leapt out of bed and bound over to Penny, whose hair was now like a porcupine's spiky back. Wow, Penny, she cried. I'm going to join get Anna back in. Anna ran across the room. Feel free to up-level this as well. I'm doing this quite quickly. You could definitely do better words than ran. Anna ran across the room and I'm going to say that's pretty. However, across the room to join them. However, as she stepped towards her sisters, she began to feel unexpectedly lightweight. Anna, you're floating. Meg squealed. Right, there's plenty of mistakes in here. Give it a go. See if you can type it out or write it out as best you can. Use a dictionary. Maybe check with an adult. Maybe even type it onto Microsoft Word yourself if you really want to check. Yeah. Shouldn't be too challenging, but there's quite a lot of mistakes in there. There's a few homophone issues going on, definitely some spelling mistakes, and definitely some capital letters that need fixing. There's one issue with the speech as well, so have a look, and yeah, look forward to seeing if you can spot them.
And the final activity for this video is going to require us to have a look at that story starter on the Pobble 365 page. And it's all related to the image, but it's kind of giving us a bit of background information about why this is happening. We're going to look at the questions that are also there, and we're going to come up with some answers together. Okay, so we're going to create a bit more of a background to this story. Why is it happening? And you can be as imaginative as you want to for this bit.
So I'm not going to answer the first one for you. I'd like you to have a go at this yourselves. Use a dictionary. What I've done here is I've copy and pasted the story starter and the questions from that bank into just a Microsoft Word document, and I'm going to type my answers underneath. I'm not going to do this one, so I'm going to type in capitals. This is for you to answer. There. So why are the scientists huddling around a machine? Well, have a think. If people are huddled around something, why do they often huddle? Is it because there's something really boring going on, or do you think it's quite the opposite? Have a go at writing out an answer, full sentences when you do this one. Why is their laboratory underground? Well, it looks like they were probably doing something that they didn't want people to know about. Maybe they were worried it would go wrong, who knows, and it probably looks like this particular experiment's gone wrong. Obviously, it doesn't look like they were intending to turn it into an anti-gravity machine because, well, if you look at that, if we go back to our picture again, it's very clear that there's been a big impact on the way gravity is acting on Earth. So again, why is their laboratory underground? Maybe they're experimenting on something different, and they thought that if people found out about it, maybe they'd get into trouble. I mean, it looks like from here they were in big trouble. Well, this is because obviously something's gone wrong. So have a think. Again, write in full sentences. What do they do in their laboratory? Well, that's up to you. You can make that up. Okay, and again, I'm not going to give you any ideas for this. I'm just going to talk you through the questions. Do you think anyone knows about it? Well, is there a hint in this opening story starter that gives a clue? Do you think people knew about it? What does this sentence here say? Okay, again, write your answer in full sentences. Why might they be in big trouble this time? Well, you know the answer to that one. We've all kind of written about it for our story. So again, full sentences. Why are they going to be in big trouble this time? Well, because what's happened. Okay, what is happening in the picture? Well, you've described that. Okay, again, you could just do a quick overview. So what has happened in their home? Clearly something's happened. Again, I'm not going to give you too much detail about it. I want you to do this independently. And do you think this is just happening in their home? Well, it doesn't say that this house was right above the laboratory, does it? So the likelihood is no. Have a think. Maybe you do want it to be just above their home. Maybe you do want it to be just these girls that are affected. And that might make everything a bit easier. I mean, if this is happening to the whole world, then I don't kind of see how our story would end. But if it's just happening to this house, then, well, you might have kind of a way out. as such. But yeah, I'm really excited to see your answers to these questions. You can just type them into a Word document if you want, or of course handwrite them, your choice.
That's all for this video. Well, not quite all, because as we know, it's me, so I've got to talk about the dog. This is Stanley now. He's just getting a little bit bigger. I thought you guys all want to see this because it's really cute. Yeah, this is the latest picture we got of him, and yeah, as of yesterday, 3 weeks. So we're counting down. We're very excited. Anyway, I'll keep it short. Have a good week, guys, and yeah, speak to you soon. Bye bye.